All right. Good morning and welcome back. We are going to be doing our lesson today on writing inequalities. So, inequalities you've actually been messing with for a while. You just probably didn't ever know that they were actually called inequalities. You know, whenever y'all have the alligator eats the bigger number, right? That alligator eats a bigger number. That is actually called an inequality. Okay? It's not equal. All right. So we have several different symbols, and we've got our regular symbols that look like this, right? And so this first symbol here, what is that meaning? Which one is it? Less than? Less than? All right. So the meaning is less than. And some word phrases that may tell me that that's going to be a less than would be fewer than. Those are some below. Those are words that tell me that it is going to be a less than symbol. Then we have, if this one's less than, what is this one? Greater than. I haven't written in a while. I don't know how to spell. So some word phrases would be more than, above, and so I'm going to show you all a little trick. I'm going to tell you, I've been teaching for, a very long time, and I still get confused. I know that what they mean, but I can't just look at the symbol and say, oh, that one's less than, that one's greater than. I have to visualize in my brain, put numbers, right? So I would put in like an 8 and a 10. Okay, now I know what that means. Now I know it's going to be less than. But here's a little trick that might help you. When I make this symbol right here, right, it kind of looks like it could be an an L, right? L-E-S-S. You see that? See how it looks like the letter L, right? And so this one, it's going to be like this. If I continue, I can make the letter, what? G for greater than. So that's one way that I kind of help. And so I suggest that when you take your tests, if you want to just do that little bit of the less and the G, it will help you to move along with these greater than, less than symbols. All right, so the two new ones that we are going to talk about, we already know this symbol, correct? Right? Well, we also have a symbol that looks like this. Okay? So let's go ahead and decipher. We know what that means, yes? We know that that means less than, right? Yeah. With this little line under it, it means less than or equal to. It can be less than this number or equal to it. So it's kind of like combining the inequality symbol with an equal sign. That's where that line comes from. So then the other one would be your greater than or what? All right. Greater than or equal to. We didn't talk about the keywords over there. So some keywords that help me know that it is less than or equal to would be at most, maximum, and I might have spelled maximum wrong, but I don't know. That's why I'm a math teacher. I know it's froze on y'all. There you go. So then when we go to the greater than or equal to, it would be at least, maybe minimum, You know, like when you go to the rodeo, or you go to ride rides somewhere, Six Flags, you know, and you go in, and it says you must be this many inches, you must be 48 inches to ride this ride, correct? That's making a inequality. Can you be 48 inches to ride the ride? Because it says you must be at least, right? 48 inches. Can you be taller? Yes. Yes. When you go to like McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, it's the other way. You must not be taller than this to come into the playground, right? So those are types of inequalities that we use in the real world. So let's talk about the definition of an inequality. The actual definition of an inequality states that a mathematical sentence that shows the relationship between quantities that are not equal. That is the actual definition of an inequality. Okay, so this next part that we're about to talk about is very, 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 very important. I'm actually going to highlight it because it's so important. Is using a number line to show these inequalities. So I'm going to star this because this is like super important, using this number line. All right, so you're going to hear us talk about open circles and closed circles. Okay, so when I go to model, so I'm going to read this sentence. This mathematical sentence says x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, if I'm going to model this on my graph, I'm going to find 3. Everybody with me? Now, I have to look on determining whether it's going to be an open circle or a closed circle by looking at the inequality. This particular inequality, it has an extra line in it, right? Versus the ones at the very beginning of just greater than or less than. Yes? So because it has an extra line, I'm going to shade it in. Okay? Because it's including this number. So I'm going to find 3. I'm going to put a circle around 3. And because it is or equal to, I'm going to shade it in. So this is a closed circle for inequalities that use the or equal to symbol. So I'm going to decide, okay, I can definitely include 3. Now I have to decide which way I'm going to draw my arrow, because I can plug in a lot of different numbers into that inequality to make it true. If I put a 2 in for x, will that make it true? Is 2 less than or equal to 3? Yes. Yes. What about if I plug in a 4? No. So my arrow, when I draw my arrow, it's going to say all of these numbers to the left are included. That is me modeling x is less than or equal to 3. So you should be shading in that arrow. So when I look at my next example over here, I read it as x is less than 3, correct? So I'm going to find 3, draw a circle. This time my inequality, does it have that extra line? No. So I'm going to leave it open. It's going to be an open circle. And we use that for anything that is greater than or less than. So if I plug a 2 into this, is 2 less than 3? Okay, if I plug in a number to the right of mine, 4, is 4 less than 3? So then my arrow will go to the left. With me on that? Yes, no? Okay, so I want to go ahead and talk to you about just a little misconception that my students tend to think, because y'all are smart kids. And so you start thinking, oh, I know which way to draw the line. It's whatever way the inequality is pointing. Okay? You're going to start seeing that. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, but that's not true. It's only true if your variable comes first. Because if I were to have written, let me just get an extra sheet of paper here. I'm going to just cover this up. And if I had a number line and I said that 3 is greater than x, okay? Let's put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Using my graphing, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go to 3. Is it going to be an open circle or a closed circle? Open. Very good. Now, if you use that whole thought of, oh, I'm going to go whichever way the arrow is pointing, this is one that would get you wrong. Because I have to think. If I plug a 2 in for this, is that going to make it true? Yes? If I plug a 4 in, would it make it true? No. So then my arrow has to go that way. Does everybody see that? It's going a different way. I can only use that whole concept of the same way the inequality is pointing as the way my arrow goes if my variable is first. I could tell myself, okay, well, I know that I could switch this to x is less than 3, and then that would work. Still means the same thing, right? All right, so I just want to tell you that because some of y'all are going to start recognizing and think that that was true. All right, so we have talked about what the symbol looks like, what an inequality is, and how to graph it. So now let's go and look at some examples of a word problem. From that word problem, we're going to write an inequality, and then we're going to graph it. A child needs to be at least 48 inches to ride the Ferris wheel. We talked about this. You see this all the time when you go to Six Flags or the rodeo or whatever. All right, so I'm going to underline my keywords. It's got to be at least 48 inches. And this is how I work out the problems to make my inequality. Because sometimes even me as an adult, I get mixed up. Which way do I need to put my inequality? So this is how I do it. I go, I know it's going to be at least 48. So I'm going to put 48 on one side and my variable on the other. Now I have to decide which way my inequality symbol is going to go. So I ask myself, can I be 48 inches and ride the Ferris wheel? Yeah. Yes or no? Yeah. Yes. So it can be equal to 48, okay? Can I be higher than 48 inches? Yeah. Okay. Can I be lower? No. So I know that whatever my height is, x, has to be what? At least, so it would be greater, right? It has to be at least 48 inches, right? Now I have my inequality. That right there is the hardest part of inequalities. Right there is writing it out. Now I'm going to solve it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to choose some numbers. And I'm just going to I'm going to put 48 here. And instead of numbering all of those, I'm just going to number a number below it and a number above it. So what number goes below this? 47. And the number above it? 41. All right. So now I'm going to graph it. Would it be an open circle or a closed circle? Closed. Closed because it's got that line. It includes it. Now, can I be 47 inches and write it? Can I be 49 inches and write it? Yeah. So my arrow is going to go to the left.
The right.
Sorry, yes, the right. See, this is what happens when I don't teach for 2 weeks. I don't remember my right from my left. Okay. A temperature is more than 2 times yesterday's low temperature. All right. So it is more than 2 times yesterday's temperature of 45. Okay. This was going to be a little bit more. So I know I'm going to put X on one side. I don't know my inequality, but I know it's going to be 2 times yesterday's low of 45. So 45 times 2, right? Now I have to decide my inequality. It is more than, so is it equal to? No, okay. So I know that it's going to be just a greater than or less than. Is it less than? Or is it more than? More than. So it's going to go this direction, yes? Now, what is 45 times 2? 90. So I'm going to graph. I'm going to find 90. I'm going to go 1 up and 1 down. Will this be an open circle or a closed circle? Open. Very good. And will it go to the right or to the left? If I put 89 in here, is 89 greater than 90? Is 91 greater than 90? So then, so with inequalities, there's a lot of talking to yourself. It's not that it's hard, it's just I have to take that moment, that step down to think, can it be more? Can it be less? Can it be equal to? Those are the 3 questions that you're going to hear over and over and over, okay? All right, so that ends our lesson for today. Go ahead and get this glued into your journal, and we'll start our work.